Nice little grand entrance here. Look at this. Folks, what is this? Oh man, this is different. 안녕하세요. Got a Korean man calling me over here. Hey.
What made you come to Republic Korea?
Just living here now. 3 months.
Yeah, based upon the information I have collected from multiple label sources, you have chosen the best country in the world as your tourist goal.
You lived in America?
But
You?
contrary to the expectation, you have chosen the worst weather.
Good day, everyone. Today we are in a very special place here in Seoul, South Korea. Why is it special, you ask? Well, because this is the former US military base. Yes, I'm in Yongsan. You might say I live in Yongsan. I live in Itaewon, which is in the Yongsan district. Well, this is the other side of Yongsan, the non-touristic side, the side without foreigners and chaos and crazy party scene. As you hear, there's cicadas and a beautiful green park. That's what we have today. And I'm gonna explore the surrounding neighborhood. You know, I've never spent time over here, never been over here. And you know, people keep commenting, it's the former US military base, it's a beautiful park. So yeah, it's Yongsan Family Park. So I just entered and already it is breathtaking. Extremely nice. Extremely hot, if you can see by the color of my shirt. You know, it is another summer day here, the end of July in Seoul. Quite brutal, but we're surviving. It's all good. You know, we have these lovely fountains giving us a little bit of a breeze. We're just gonna kind of walk through this park. It looks quite big on the map, and it looks like there's some cool little spots here. Some cool things to see. Nice garden over here. Meanwhile, it's completely empty. Of course, nobody is going to be crazy enough to come out here at 12:30 p.m., you know, on a summer day. So, Yongsan Park Healthy Barefoot Trail. Okay, there are quite a few of these barefoot trails in parks here in Seoul. It's quite a thing. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. We've got some mud, but there are some like barefoot places to walk. As you see, this thing here, you know, I believe it's quite good for your feet. You know, strengthens the feet. No pets, no shoes, so we won't step in there. So improved blood circulation by stimulating soul reflex zones. Recovery from fatigue through excretion of nitrogenous wastes. And then healthy bowel movement and activation of the immune system. Wow, I like it. I mean, it's just a little bit dirty. We do have these to clean off the feet, so, you know, maybe something that we should try. Improve our circulation, get our bowel movements going, get our bowels moving. Interesting. I've seen that in other parks as well. Quite a Seoul thing, but beautiful little like tiki hut here. You know, maybe not a tiki hut, but beautiful. Nice garden over here. We have a man tending to the garden in the distance, keeping things looking tidy for us. Oh, this is nice. Beautiful. All right, let's continue here. That's just the beginning. There's pretty much no one here. I mean, yeah, you'd have to be some sort of psycho to come out here 12:30 p.m., end of July in Seoul. Unless you're a YouTuber, right? Then it makes sense. And here I am. I mean, we have someone in the distance, so. Nice little grand entrance here. Look at this. Folks, what is this? How do you have something this pristine, this immaculate? I believe this is a UNESCO heritage site, and so, of course, it is going to be kept quite immaculate. I mean, just look at it. Not a single piece of garbage, not a single leaf on the ground. And we have a cool statue fully intact. Nice. So it is a more local area. You're not going to get English writing, you know, you're not going to get an explanation of things too much in English. You know, I was reading the sign over there about the barefoot walking thing. That was in English, so that's cool. Now, again, I'm in Korea. You know, I don't expect anything to be in English. Don't take it the wrong way. You know, I have no expectations. I'm just saying, you know, the other side of Yangsan in Itaewon, where I live, you know, it's very foreigner-centric, and so things are mostly in English. So I'm lucky there. And until I learn Korean, I can kind of get by. But over here, you know, I'd expect the locals are pretty much speaking Korean. You know, it's not a foreigner-centric area. Oh, look at these. I don't think these are edible. I'm not gonna take any risks out here. Also don't think I should be picking anything off of a tree, especially if it's a UNESCO heritage site. Don't want to be taking anything. We do have beautiful flowers here. Something that you see everywhere in Seoul actually is like really nice, vibrant flowers. So the Koreans really know their gardening. Wow, we have like a massive open space here. These, I'm really digging these, like, it just makes it feel like a really grand entrance. It makes it feel good walking through. Can I step on this grass? I presume so. When we have benches here, it would be crazy if I couldn't step on the grass, right? Just feels wrong to step on grass like this, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it anyways. It's just like a nice big open field. You know, you can kind of have a frisbee game, a little baseball game, something like that maybe. I don't know. We got a camera there watching our every move. I'm sure someone's watching me on the CCTV saying, who is this silly foreigner with the camera? You know, I think they know what's up. You know, they know at this point, YouTubers, TikTokers, bloggers. I see it all the time. You know, I see it all the time in Seoul. People in the grocery store, people in, you know, just on the corner dancing for TikTok. You see two girls in a mini skirt, like dancing for TikTok, like half naked on the street. And it's just, you know, you see the older Korean guys looking at them like, you know, a little bit like, what the heck are you doing? A little bit like, ooh la la, very nice. You know, they're just kind of staring. You see people live streaming quite regularly too, especially in Itaewon. I see it all the time on the weekend. Like, it's a hotspot for that because, hey, the content makes itself. When people are out drunk, acting wild, you don't really have to do much. You know, that's the content. Another healthy barefoot trail. This is a dirt trail. Well, thanks for pointing that out. You know, I do see plenty of dirt here. Oh, another nice little archway. Arch. I don't know what you would call that. Yeah, they just kind of make everything look nice, like a huge proper garden. Let's just continue here, see what we can find. Do wish there was a nice waterfall or something. Take a swim. Nice pool would be cool. I think today it's around 37 degrees Celsius. Pretty warm, 96 Fahrenheit. Oh, we got a gentleman over there just drinking from his thermos, drinking a little water, a little beverage, enjoying the sound of cicadas. You know, it is very peaceful here. I will say that. It's peaceful, it's nice. Even though it's hot, you know, I could justify coming over here and just sitting on a bench for a little bit and hanging out. Maybe on my lunch break, something like that. But look at these bushes. Nice. I don't know how they come up with this stuff. I don't know how they come up with the landscaping ideas. I mean, that's just not my field of expertise, so I wouldn't be able to do a great job. Obviously, there are experts for that. You know, maybe some of it is natural, but I do believe they have to plant all of this. So, like, you know, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. What do we have here? We have a person falling into the air. We don't want to fall into the air. Now this looks quite interesting. Another landmark of sorts here. Huh. Oh wow, we even have the English explanation. The national flag, Taeguki Park. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Prior to its liberation, Korea had been unable to exercise national sovereignty under Japanese rule, of course. The situation was the same when the country came under the control of the US Army following its liberation from Japan. Liberation? It says liberation. National flag, Taeguki Park is shaped like the Korean national flower, the Rose of Sharon, to inspire national spirit, and it is adorned with the Rose of Sharon and 50 Taeguki fluttering overhead to evoke patriotism. Love it. So we have, 50 flags here, just as a sort of patriotism act, as a sign of love for Korea. Very nice. Very nice. It stands out. This is cool. Nice. So they have become liberated. Korea has become liberated from Japan, of course. That's why there is still a little bit of tension between Korea and Japan, or between the people at times. Not with everyone, but I see it in the YouTube comments. I should not compare Korea and Japan, stuff like that. I kind of made some content that I felt was harmless, talking about the two countries. But I do need to realize there's a very, very deep history there. And so some people are still, quite sensitive about that, quite close to the situation. And no matter how many years have passed, it's still quite a touchy subject. And so, not too much comparing of Korea and Japan, two completely separate countries. A lot has happened, and so we'll just leave it at that, right? But hey, happy to be in Korea. So beautiful. Just some trails here, just some very peaceful trails. This is one of the nicest areas I've been in Seoul. I gotta say that. So I've been to the Seoul Forest Park, huge park near, what is it? What is the neighborhood? Songsu? I think so. Neighborhood. And then Namsan Park, right near me. There's a playground over there, not much for me. Another whole area over here. So let's just check this out first. As we can see, typical place for the Ajumas to do their workouts here in the park. Free workout. Nothing like a free workout, folks. I mean, come on. We got the wheels turning. Ooh, I think we did enough workout today. I probably walked 45 minutes just to get here for something like that. So we're good. Today's my rest day from the gym. I do 5 days a week in the gym, but hey, everything you need here for a workout. We have a bench press. We have a couple kind of weird machines that I wouldn't know how to use, but you can get something done on those. Even this one, you get the abs turning. Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. Get the abs going. All right. Like I said, that's enough. That's enough for today. Let's continue here. Yeah, just extremely clean. I mean, this is taking it to another level. I talk about it a lot, how Seoul and the parks are very clean, but this just takes it a step further. Nice, National Museum of Korea. Somewhere else we've not been, and it's been recommended to me quite a few times. So I think that is somewhere we need to check out. I don't know if we'll get to that today. I do think I'd like to make a full video about that because it's quite, quite a big thing, I'd say, and could probably take up a few hours of my time, at least an hour video. So yeah, I think I want to make a full video about that. 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I'd imagine that's the time it's closed. Okay. I did hear from some local friends that the parks don't close. You know, maybe not this one, but there are parks that they stay open all night, which is very, you know, very new thing to me. You know, in the States, you know, they close parks at 10 p.m. or so for people's protection, for the safety, particularly safety of women, you know, walking through the park, not to have any problems. As you see here, there's actually a box with a security. So that's something you see a lot here too. It's just like, yeah, a lot of security for the people. Actually, before I walked into this Yangsan Family Park, I walked into a place which just said Yangsan Park. And it was like, I guess the actual former US military area where they would stay in the apartments. So it's just a bunch of empty apartments. And yeah, it's very interesting. It's guarded by security in the front. But we have this beautiful, old school Korean architecture here. Very palace-like. You know, this is the kind of thing you see when entering the big palaces. Let's see what it says here. So this is the Bosingak Bell from 1468, the Joseon Dynasty. And it was acquired in 1986. So big bell. Reminds me of where I was born, in Philadelphia. We have the Liberty Bell, quite famous. You know, my parents always used to, they didn't really care about historical stuff like that. And some of my aunts and uncles and stuff like that, they cared a lot more. So every few years or so, we would go see the Liberty Bell with the aunts, uncles, and cousins. And because my parents weren't very interested, you know, I think it made me not very interested. And so we would go and we'd be like, okay, we just drove an hour and here's this bell, you know, it's just a bell. But now I think I grasp it a little bit more. You know, the history, you know, there's a story there. It's kind of cool. But I think the historic sites here in Korea are far more interesting, at least for me, as an American, you know, very interesting. You know, the War Memorial, places like this, it's fascinating. And, you know, maybe Koreans will go to America and maybe you'll find some of the historical sites in the US fascinating. Places that I find to be boring and I don't want to visit. So maybe it's just the different culture, you know, going somewhere new, seeing different types of architecture. I think that's a big part of it for me, design and architecture. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Do you like to visit historical sites? You know, is it just because I'm from America that I think the historical sites in Korea are so fascinating? Or are they just that cool? You know, because I have a big Korean audience. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm sure you guys love to travel and, you know, kind of go to see some historical stuff when you travel, right? Makes sense. Now things are looking quite different. Now this is like not so park-like anymore. Very, very cement. Let's see here. Please keep off. All right, so no sitting. Let's see, do we want to head down this way or do we want to head another direction here? Let's see. You know, it's starting to look like we're heading toward the city, right? Let's see. I'm going to head up these stairs. There's another spot we can go down over there. Oh, we got a first piece of trash here. No big deal. You know, you can't really prevent, you know, one or two people from throwing their garbage on the ground. It's just, okay, so this is clearly the National Museum. I mean, look how huge this is because there's a ton of tourists over here at this point. All right, so let's see. We have some more cool things over here. The Reflecting Pond Pavilion. Let's see what this is about. I could tell immediately, just like hordes of tourists. Just, oh my God. I mean, hundreds of people, a lot of baby strollers. So this is just like a little place to sit down, chill out with a bench, maybe have a coffee, something like that. Maybe we can get a little view from here. You know, it's not much of a viewpoint. Oh, okay. Ooh, all right. So yeah, this is something we missed for sure. Nice. That's beautiful. I would like to get over there. Looks like a cool kind of square, kind of chill out place. But yeah, as you can see, there's just hordes of tourists. Jeez, okay. So I guess that can be expected with the National Museum, right? Even at, what is it, 12:40 p.m. on a weekday. Ooh, I guess you just have to kind of accept it, right? A lot of Chinese tourists, you know, we got Korean tourists, we got Japanese tourists. It's pretty much what we're seeing from a distance. I'm going to kind of continue really quick on the park side of things because we're going to have to, you know, buy a ticket, buy an entrance ticket, and go in the museum if we want to. So here to this way is the National Hangul Museum, Hangul, Mirror Pond Restaurant. Be cool to see what that is. Children's Museum. Okay, maybe that's what we're seeing over here. Children's Museum. Theater Young Education Center. Maybe that's why there's just hordes of kids. So we don't really want the Children's Museum anyways. It's not really for us. It's just not for us. This says Mirror Pond Restaurant, like kind of up where we just were. It definitely didn't look like a restaurant. Maybe it's just seating for the restaurant. Maybe down here is where you can order food and beverages. Yeah, so I think you go in here. As we see, it's quite busy. All right. Let's see. This is beautiful. The seating area out here. Wow. Well, that's a nice place to eat some food. Not particularly hungry. I ate a huge meal. I cooked a huge meal before coming out. Cooked some lamb burgers, minced lamb burgers, and some pork as well. So plenty filled, but really nice little spot. Wouldn't mind grabbing a coffee or a tea, something like that. Yeah, just like this is a nice place to hang out, I gotta say. See, quite an older demographic during this time. People taking some photos here, getting some good photos. Professional camera, you know, I use an iPhone. I would love to get an upgraded camera or even an upgraded iPhone, but I think you know the prices of new iPhones nowadays is like absolutely insane. So that's not happening. I mean, if you want to help me upgrade my equipment, you know, throw me a little donation. You know, if you love my content, I do have links down in the description. You want to support the channel. I really appreciate it. You know, I don't expect it, but you know, if you have the means to do it and you love my content, hey, throw me a little donation. You know, help me work my way towards some new equipment, some rent payments, some food. I'd love it. Please keep off. Does that mean I can't stand right here? I think this is okay. I think they just don't want you getting too close to the edge. I think that's what it means. Folks, look at this. Beautiful. We're in South Korea, baby. Oh, folks. I just really, really like this place more and more every day. I really do. You know, I made a video recently talking about, you know, 3 months in the country, how I'm feeling very comfortable here, and hey, it's just getting stronger by the day. Thymus. Is that thyme? Bellum conda. There's a couple of herbs here. I wonder if that's like thyme herb that you would use on like pizza and seasoning. Probably a little different, right? I think that's thymol. Thymus? I don't know, folks. I'm not an herbalist. I'm not. I do like how they show the different species, though. They kind of mark the species of tree. What do we have? Quercus mongolica fish. Wow, that's difficult. That's Mugdinia rossi coids. I mean, they're not even like Korean names, I don't think. Doesn't sound Korean. But they brought them here, they planted them, and now they're here. Yeah, so over here, you know, not so quiet. We got our peace in the beginning, in the start of the Yongsan Park. And yeah, now let's venture just a little bit outside You know, maybe just see what the surrounding neighborhood looks like. See a lot of buildings in the distance, a lot of construction going on, and just a whole crap load of people here. Like a scary amount of people for a weekday afternoon. So there is a cafe here, a Twosome Place, you know, popular chain. I think I'm gonna grab a little something. At the very least, I'm gonna grab a water. I am extremely parched, actually dying at the moment, dying. So I'm sorry if I'm licking my lips, but whew, yeah, I'm gonna grab a water. You know, see what kind of tea they have here. They're literally completely out of water, or they don't sell water. So, okay, all right, no liquids for now. Just wanted to see what these things were. Got a lot of these tall things going on. I think we have to go find some water. I think it's important at the moment. I'm feeling a little bit dehydrated, you know, a little bit, let's say, lightheaded from sweating so much. It's been, you know, at least 2 hours since I had any liquid, and I've sweat a lot out here. So yeah, we're gonna head to the surrounding neighborhood. Thank you for visiting the National Museum of Korea. Not today, but you know, in the future. Oh, perfect. Look what we have here. See you. Nice to see you. It's never been so nice to see you. Oh, fresh water, ice cold water coming up. Wow, they even have 6 microwaves outside. That's different. Oh man, it's just absolutely slammed. We got lines. I mean, this is, I don't even know. This is tough. Let's see. All right. All right. Okay. Oh boy. Trying to film in here. Oh man. Even if I wasn't filming, it's a little bit chaotic. It's gonna be some water. All right. Water, 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 water. Sorry. 감사합니다. It's cold. It's pretty cold. This is the line, so we have to. Yeah, we have to. This is tough. We're gonna go around. We're gonna go this way. I don't know if does the line really start there and go all the way around? That's just barbaric. No way. No way. All right, folks. Let's do this. These people are absolute animals here, just cutting in line, just like very cutthroat. As you see people just kind of like cutting their way through. Are these Koreans? What's going on here? This is different. Okay. Wow. Crazy, folks. Grabbing some almond milk and a water here. Oh man, not too bad. 2,700, around $2, a little less than $2. Oh. 감사합니다. Thank you. Okay. Now we must escape. We must escape the prison of CU. I was so happy to see this place. I'll be so happy to leave here. Oh man, this is different. Well, that's somewhere you're going to want to avoid here in Korea. Oh wow. I haven't experienced anything like that since I arrived in the country. That was the first absolute madness moment I really had. I mean, it's because we're in this, like, I guess, very tourist spot, right? The National Museum. But all the seating is full, so I'm gonna come over here. It looks like we have some seats here. Now I really just want to get away from the people, right? Now I need a peaceful moment with my unsweetened almond milk, my water. I no longer feel like I'm gonna pass away, which is good. I mean, the thirst, the overwhelming thirst combined with the amount of people, I mean, that had me, whoo. All right, we're good, folks, we're good. Let's take a little seat here. We got our Almond Day unsweetened. See how this is. I haven't tried this yet. I'm a big fan of almond milk, cashew milk, pistachio milk. Let's see. Not bad. Refreshing. I mean, if I had to rate it, you know, across almond milk brands, let's say it's a 6 out of 10, but very refreshing right now. Get some water in us. Oh, that's good. Yeah, the cafe, they didn't sell water. It's kind of a common thing here in Korea. A lot of the places that sell beverages, they sell, you know, coffees and tea. They don't sell water. They don't sell bottled water. You know, I guess it's just a thing, right? They don't. It's not something they carry. You know, maybe there's a few places that do, but I gotta say, I've asked in many spots. You know, when I was in dire need of some water, and they're just like, no, we don't. We don't sell water. Interesting, but yeah, no worries. Had a insane convenience store next door. Let's go explore a little bit of the surrounding neighborhood. Just see what's going on around this part of Yongsan. Get out of this park area and just, yeah, let's check out the neighborhood. I mean, look at the line to get into that shop at this point. Holy. All right, so now we're back out here onto the main road. Actually, right over those buildings is a waterfront, is a river. So yeah, this area is Icheon. This is by the Icheon station, like Ichon, Icheon. So maybe we cross the street, we find a way to get to the river, see what the Icheon River Park looks like. You know, I don't think we're gonna see too much in terms of like neighborhood over here. You know, we have these huge apartment blocks across the street. You know, maybe if we get over there, we will see a little bit. Otherwise, right here, it's like a massive main road. We have the Park Tower in the distance. Yeah, and here you see the entrance to the station. So I'm wondering, should I cross? Yeah, I should probably go down and cross this way because it just looks like there's not really gonna be another way to get across the street. I could have crossed way back there, but I chose not to. So yeah, let's just, let's go down to Icheon. Let's see what the Icheon station looks like as well. Doesn't look completely different than some things I've seen in Seoul before. Definitely feels quite local, other than the fact that it's like a mega tourist spot. I think otherwise, like the surrounding areas are gonna be pretty local. So yeah, let's go this way to Bagwang-dong. Interesting. Yeah, let's go out this way. Just like that, we're on the other side of the street. Probably should have went out the other exit. Probably would have left me further over here. I'm not sure though. I took the guaranteed exit that I knew was right here. The other one might have actually took me further into where I need to go, because I don't see another exit here. But there was clearly another exit that people were going toward. But it looks like up ahead, I can potentially, let's see. We have what looks like a church over here, like a Christian church of sorts. Yeah, I am Christian myself, Catholic boy. I mean, I'm not so religious now, but you know, I grew up Catholic, made my communion, my, you know, the whole thing. My confirmation, as we call it. So I could get married in a Catholic church if I wanted to, but haven't been to church in a while. You know, I would really need to go repent my sins of not going to church in a while. But yeah, you can see the big cross here. Yeah, maybe someday, folks, maybe one day. All right, so as we approach here, there's some train tracks. So we're gonna have to wait if we wanna get to the waterfront. I don't even think we can get to the waterfront here. A lot of buildings surrounding us. Mostly on the other side, all we're seeing is buildings. We have a Papa John's Pizza over there, GS25. The Park Tower. Sounds like a famous thing, right? Park Tower. Yeah, I assume some office buildings, you know, office workers. But yeah, it doesn't look very accessible to get to the water. Here's the train coming, the K rail. There we go. Wonderful. This gentleman making sure no one gets killed. Very nice. Food delivery. Driver got a cigarette in his mouth. Do we have another train? As I suspected. Whoop. And here we go. All right, so I'm thinking over there we can potentially get to the waterfront. I could ask this gentleman. Oh, it looks like, all right, let's go this way. Definitely looks like mildly dangerous because there's, you know, cars coming in both directions. This is an interesting bus to me right here. That's cool. That's different. Huh. Yeah, I think that we can go this way. I mean, obviously it's accessible because people live in these buildings here. So you have to be able to get to your apartment and also get to the waterfront. So perfect. Looks like we are headed in the right direction. All right, finally looks like we get a little bit of a local neighborhood feel over here. The Worry grocery store, convenience store, you know, surrounded by the apartment complex. Yeah, it gets a lot more local over here immediately. And we're almost to the waterfront. Almost. This has been quite an adventure, all the way from Itaewon down to the Icheon waterfront on foot, and not even direct, you know, walking all over. I'd imagine that my steps for today, I'd imagine I'm already at 15,000 plus, maybe 20,000 or so. So we're doing well. We got a playground here. And again, it looks like we're approaching a kind of a local neighborhood feel. Finally, we have a bus stop here. Okay, Coffee Works. We have like an actual, yeah, maybe even an apartment building there too. Interesting. So we got some turf on the ground, some fake, you know, fake grass. Just as I mentioned, it being a local neighborhood, we see couple of white tourists here. But you know, what can you do? What can we say? I mean, that's me as well, right? Light just turned red, so I think we'll go across over here. Wow. So we have like some restaurants, 7-Eleven. Look at this. Folks, we're actually in a neighborhood now. We are away from you know, when I started this video, I said, you know, today we're going to explore an area away from the tourist madness. And somehow I ended up in the craziest tourist spot I've been ever. But yeah, nice pho restaurant, a nice hairstylist here. This whole place just lined with shops. And we got a little guy selling, not a little guy, but a guy running a little shop selling drinks, stuff like that. So, whew, I think we'll be there within a matter of moments. So interesting, it looks like it's almost taking us onto a highway, but it's not. This is definitely like a tunnel that leads to the Icheon River Park. And yeah, these cars are just dropping people off, or they're gonna be parking over there. Yeah, we have a lot of residencies all around, like serious amount of apartments over here. I mean, it doesn't seem like an area I would be dying to live. You know, I haven't explored the area enough. You know, maybe if you work in the area as well, you know, the park is nice too. But of course, I much prefer it where I stay, you know, on the border of Hanam. You know, you guys been telling me I'm saying it wrong. I like to say Hanam. I think it's Hannam. I have to get that right. I have to get that down because Hanam is a different neighborhood somewhere else. And so I think people know what I mean when I say Hanam Itaewon, but it's Hannam Itaewon on the border. Beautiful neighborhood, you know, lovely spot to stay. You know, I'm very blessed to be staying there. You know, I wouldn't be able to afford it, of course. You know, so it's easy to say, yeah, I prefer to stay over there. But I'm lucky that I pay much less rent than would be necessary normally, because I stay with a friend. I stay with like a Korean friend, and you know, the amount of rent that I'm paying her is less than I would be paying. You know, if I had to come over here and pay this huge deposit, like, I wouldn't be able to do it. It wouldn't be possible. The deposit that you need to leave for an apartment over there is like, it's outrageous. So yeah, 감사합니다. So I'm very lucky. You know, I wouldn't be able to live in Hannam otherwise. So I'm blessed. But yeah, it works out. You know, I'm very thankful. Oh, we made it to the Icheon River Park. Look at that. Wow, don't go trying that with a motorcycle, folks. That's like what you see in people doing stunts, yeah, on motorcycles or on bikes. That is insane. Okay, all right, let's see, what does it say? Hangang, that runs through the center of the city, is an oasis for citizens to take a breather in the midst of their breathless everyday lives. So Hangang, I believe, simply means river, right? Han River Park, Hangang Park. I believe that's exactly what that means. And just look how many buildings in the distance. Buildings, massive residential buildings here. All right, well, this is a biking path. We don't want to get run over. Let's just stop by the water, right? Catch a little breeze for a moment. Finish off this vlog. I mean, this is a good one, folks. This is good. Got a bunch of birds, pigeons, potentially pigeons. You know, the bottom level birds of the world. This is actually nice. This is great. Recently, I went to the Uido River Park. You know, one of my recent videos, the Wall Street of Korea. That's actually what I titled the video. So if you want to see the Uido neighborhood and the Uido River Park, which is spectacular, I gotta say, it's quite a unique one. Go watch that video next. But yeah, beautiful. Icheon Rehabilitation Project. Beautiful. Hey, 안녕하세요. He's calling me over here. Got a Korean man calling me over here. Hey, America, USA.
From the United States.
Yeah, how are you?
I think you will have no problem be able to speak in English.
Ah, you're English.
Furthermore, you are in a position to express ideas
You're,
in full way in the language of English, because based upon the information I have collected from multiple reliable sources, those who came from the United States speak English as a mother tongue. That's why I can come to successful, logical, convincing, decisive conclusion. You will have no any difficulties.
why is your English so good?
In giving expression to what you think in the language of Korean English. Furthermore, so far you have no mental problem. I think even though I use intentionally big vocabularies to test mental agility, you will overcome any stumbling block facing you on your arduous road to the successful conclusion that you have no mental problem.
Oh, okay.
What made you come to Republic of Korea?
Just living here now, 3 months.
Yeah, based upon the information I have collected from multiple sources, you have chosen the best country in the world as your tourist goal.
You lived in America?
But
You?
contrary to the expectation, you have chosen the worst weather. The worst weather in Korea historically. That's why you are not in a position to kill two birds with one stone. That means if you have chosen the best country, contrary to the expectation, you must choose the worst weather, not only in Korea, all over the world. That means you are not in a position to kill two birds with one stone.
Okay.
So are you not smart enough to be able to kill two birds with one stone?
No. Nice to meet you.
No,
Asayo.
we should stay here so that you can cool yourself and result in deep relationship between you and me, and furthermore, internationally.
Have a nice day. Take care.
So in this equilibrium, how can you develop mutual relationship with you?
Goodbye, man. Have a nice day.
Huh?
Bye bye.
I'm left alone.
It's okay.
I am left alone, having no friends.
It's okay. Well, that was unexpected, folks. I think that man is mentally unwell. That's not exactly what I was expecting. That threw me off a little bit. Well, I hope that's good content. Hey, it's something. You know, we finally get some interaction on the vlog, right? And what is it? It's that. It's that. That's okay. We're out here in Icheon, you know, beautiful place. Beautiful river out here. Actually get some really nice views out here. Wow. All right, I think it's time for me to decompress a little bit from today. Time to relax a little bit. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Again, if you want to drop a little donation for me, if you like my content, you want to support me, go ahead, link in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Next, make sure you watch my video where I talk about why I've fallen in love with Korea after 3 months here. You can watch that right here.